Hey, welcome everybody to episode 107 of the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. We were supposed to start live for our members at 1, and it's just a little bit beyond that. We had some technical difficulties, but I swear our members have the patience of a saint, and we still have a few people here with us. But this is Nate Wilson. You want to say hi, Nate?
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a personality, so I'm going to try to bring some life out of him here. But little context here. Nate, we're in my office right now, and he is in town. And as I always like to tell people, he's just like a guy I met in an internet chat room, and now we're buddies. And I don't think that sounds that creepy, does it?
No, it's not that creepy at all.
No.
And the voice you just heard is Chezz. And we'll bring his pretty face up because I know you guys don't want to stare at our ugly mug, stew face. So Chezz is going to be the counterbalance to make Nate and I, to kind of revive your eyes because...
My apologies in advance.
No, you're the good-looking one. We're just, we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know how this is going to go. This is the first time we've done something live on video, and we're just going to kind of see where the wind takes us. I told the story already kind of through round 1, but last night we had church league volleyball, and I said, Nate, I need you on your best behavior. Just not that he's a total potty mouth, but he did very.
I am a total potty mouth.
He's got a few words here and there that slip out, but he did fantastic. I mean, he was a choir boy, which was appreciated. So I'm going to ask the same. So let's just try to keep this PG-13-ish.
Baby oil is not a bad word for the record.
yeah. So, so Chezz, are you ready to go?
I'm good.
All right, and so far so good. So we're just going to kind of, like I said, talk and see where the conversation goes. Nate was on episode, I probably should have checked that before we started. Do you remember? Was it 7?
I don't know.
But this is his third time back. He was on a very early episode, and then he came back for a 2-year anniversary episode, and now this is his third time back on the podcast. So he's been trading for a while, and we had a pretty interesting morning.
We did. We traded this morning.
Yeah, he traded my account this morning, and like, what was it? 30 minutes, you made me $350, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, so...
and no thanks to Clay, since he was yelling over my shoulder to do the opposite of what I was doing the entire time.
I'm glad you brought that up. That brings up a perfect example of why there's no one-size-fits-all strategy, because in the heat of the moment, I didn't realize it, but I was totally just like, no, go there. And to his credit, he did not listen to me, but it worked out well because, like I said, he worked out fine, but it was weird. I would have put my order 5 cents more than where he was trying to get. So, because we trade very similar, but just the little things, the little personal risk tolerances, he was okay with, no, I want to give it another 5 cents. I think I can get 5 cents more out of it. Whereas me, I'm sitting here telling him, no, move that up. But so I was, the armchair quarterback, but he did his thing. And although our styles are very similar, it was pretty interesting to see where those little minor differences came in. And it was just, very small, but it turned out well. And,
and now he's going to Venmo me the money that he owes me.
Now, here's the thing. I would almost feel bad, but because yesterday I traded, and you want to comment on that? Because I know you're going to rub that in, so let's just get it out of the way.
No, so what do you have, a guilty conscience?
I know what's coming, so I'm going to be proactive. Just tell them what happened yesterday and what happened this morning, and that the water can go under the bridge here. Actually, no, wait.
Yeah.
Chezz, what do you think is coming here?
Little man's disease is coming out.
You guys...
No, guess what you think he's going to throw in my face. I traded yesterday morning, and he traded my account this morning. So what do you think he's going to try to shove in my face?
He's going to shove in your face that you should quit trading, give all your money to Nate, and let him manage your money for a fee every month. So good job launching your fund, Nate. I'm fully behind you. You have a full support of
That's actually pretty
HU
accurate.
as well.
I think that's probably
that's fair enough.
Yeah, but I'll let you explain.
You explain.
No, you're the guest.
You were the one trading yesterday.
Yeah, and how did I do?
I don't remember. You tell me.
Yeah.
I really don't. You made one trade.
Yeah, I made one trade.
One trade yesterday.
And $145 on it.
$145. That wasn't a bad trade.
Yeah, and then
it's a very successful trade.
Yeah,
but that was it.
Why are you all subdued right now?
I'm waiting for you to tell the audience how well you did yesterday.
I did. One trade, $145.
Were you happy with yourself? Do you feel like that was a good day?
I don't know. I'm going to ask you, did I manage the trade decent or no?
You did a good job managing the trade.
What kind of trade was it? Do you remember?
Was it a fake breakout?
Fake breakout on a wolf.
Fake breakout on a wolf.
SQ, right? Yeah, SQ.
Yeah, SQ. So that was a good learning opportunity because I did not pay attention to I did not watch the webinar when that lesson was being taught.
That's right, we had
but
that
it's a
conversation.
quality lesson to learn. So for all you people out there, go back and rewatch that one. But he mapped it out and he played it to a T. So it was a very good trade. It just, not quite as good as I did.
You got to be
today.
yourself. This is so phony right now. I know that's not how you feel. I know you just want to.
He's mad. He's mad because since the day I rolled into town, I've dominated him in everything that we've done, and so he's just a little bitter right now. So I was gonna let him share that with you, but I'm
gonna play
Nice
the
job
role of
taking
you.
it down a notch, Nate. Good job.
All I know is that I saw you make $145 yesterday morning, and me, when I traded your account, I made $350.
That is true.
So you suck.
No,
That's what I know you wanted to say.
I didn't say that you suck, but you do suck.
Okay, well, there you go. I just want to get that out of the way
All right.
because we have questions we want to answer. We want to kind of check in with you and see how things are going. But, yeah, in all seriousness, he did a great job this morning. And although he didn't listen to me, but that's fine because he stuck to his strategy, and his strategy worked out just fine. But it goes to show the little intricacy.
It just goes to show that you guys should keep practicing, and someday you'll be as good as me.
Okay.
Maybe you're close. And if you're only a quarter as good as me, then you could be just like Clay.
Where's Chezz standing scale?
Chezz, he's just part of the podcast. Do you even trade stocks anymore?
His farm is probably making him more money than what we made.
That's probably
combined.
true. Yeah.
So
I kicked back on the beach and just raking the farm while you guys were over here arguing about pennies and cents. But it's okay, Nate. You dominated him. That's all that matters. So
Chezz, he's very happy about this. But so
I don't even know what an option is, to be honest. I kind of do.
No, that'll be a good talking point. So you did venture into options a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So
I did.
Because I'm pretty sure we never talked about that at all in your last podcast.
No, I don't think I played
So let's
with
talk
those.
options.
Okay.
How deep did you venture in, and what kind of just in it? Because we've had plenty of people on the show where they love options. Heck, Chezz he's great with options. He's got an option farm set up, and he just harvests premium. So here we're gonna. Well, I don't want to take this still, but yeah, walk us through kind of your option journey.
All right, so I took the I took the courses that were offered, so the options made simplified and the advanced options course, and listened to all the people out there like, oh, you should sell premium. Like your account's big enough to sell premium, you can make money. Like give it, however many directions it goes, up, down, left, right, whatever. And so I looked at it for a little while and then just decided that I didn't like it as much. It's the reality. I just liked the quick in and out, quick day trades of the equities. I just felt like for me, it was less complex. It was pretty simple. It was less looking at like larger time frames and doing a bunch of homework. My style of trading is I show up to work, like I turn on the computer, I watch the tickers fly by, and I just get in and out, and then I go about my daily basis. It's a lot less mapping out a trade and doing a whole lot of planning that I honestly didn't want to make the effort to do.
And that's a good honest answer. Chezz, being the options trader you are, give listeners, how much time do you spend setting up a trade plan? How much time do you set? This is kind of weird. I keep looking up at the mic, but the camera's right there, so I'll have to remember that.
No, it's fine.
But
so
yeah,
what really ends up happening is that the whole thing is kind of front loaded in the sense you have to learn those strategies in advance, and that's obviously you have to know what works best for what. But at the same time, I can look at any daily chart and any options chain and make a decision within like 3 minutes. But that's just I'm familiar with that. The same way Nate's familiar and you are familiar with looking at 7 minutes worth of market data, and you guys can plan your trades. I do the same, just it's on a swing term time period. It's not short and sweet like you guys like to trade. But this brings up the point that I always make is that no two people trade the same. You two definitely trade similar, but at the same time, everybody has their own little, what they're strong at, what they're seeing versus what somebody else is seeing. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. At the same time, Nate, if you want me to, actually make you a millionaire, just send all your money to me and I'll just put it in the farm. Okay. And we'll grow the acreage on the farm. But otherwise, it takes me like 3 minutes to plan a trade.
Why don't you just send me your hot options alerts,
text alerts?
via text message, whenever you make one, and then
that's good news. My new partnership with HTU actually has text message alerts. Yeah, there's a second plug, so you get text alerts from me.
HTU?
And so the thing is that if you're wrong, Nate, you just keep rolling it until your account goes to 0. So that's the
Oh,
whole
nice.
trick with the
Yeah,
advanced
I like
options.
that.
That's how we do it here. Bet the house.
All right, here's another talking point.
Okay.
Provided for ask, is Nate still having a super winning streak?
No, I don't have a super winning
Do you
streak,
even
and I
keep
never
track
did.
of streaks?
No,
Why not? Because this is a good point. Because I hate that
Um,
word streak.
I don't. I just don't even pay. I don't know. I don't pay attention.
Why not?
I don't know why.
Good.
Have you ever before?
No,
Oh,
I
you
just
never have. Okay.
I mean, I've never paid attention. I don't know. I mean, I think when I pulled up my account because we were looking for that trade I was trying to describe to you.
Yep.
I have had I've had one red day this month. It was at the beginning of the month.
And it's the 24th right now, so
Yes.
there's been about, I don't know, 15-ish trading days.
Yeah, so I did have one red day. So
And that was
Like
137, 100, if I remember when you showed
I thought it
me?
was 175. 175.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost $175 one day this month.
And in the show notes, I've done a blog article on Nate because he was kind enough to send me either 3 or 4 months. It was funny the way it broke down. I'm like, you're doing well. Can you send me a month's worth of your trading? And he sent me a month, and it was every single day was green. I'm like, all right, nobody's gonna believe this.
Yeah.
I can already see the trolls right now. That's Photoshop. I'm like, just send me another month. And of course, he complains about it like he complains about everything. But he was still kind enough. So
Yeah.
credit where credit's due. He sent me another 30 days worth of action, all green days. I'm like, send me another month, and there better be a red day. So then I think finally in the next month, he had 2 red days, and we'll put that in the show notes. We'll put a link to that article, and you can go see the screenshots that he sent me. So, I mean, it's all been documented, and documented as far as you can be. I mean, there's always going to be people that I'm sure are going to, you could show somebody your tax returns, and they'd be like, no, that's Photoshopped. So, but he very consistent, and back to Chezz's point, which I think he made a good point on, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, your strategy that you use, a lot of that really is a function of your schedule. I mean, actually walk us through your schedule because I think you're still, you have a full-time job.
Yeah, I work full time, and I actually trade at work. So, like, I show up to work like a little bit before 9 on most days because I have some work that like I have to get out of the way before I can actually start trading. Like, I have to do a few things. So usually I try to get there and get those out of the way before 9:30 starts. But as far as trading goes, like, I don't prep. I pretty much just show up at 9:30, like, the market dings on my TOS, and like then I just start trading. Like, I don't, like, I'll look at the daily charts to just kind of get like map out like a couple tickers that are moving pre-market just to like start with one chart up, but then I pretty much just look at the high-low scanner and run to whatever stock is moving on that, and then usually I trade for about an hour. Usually from 9:30 to 10:30. Trade as much as I can through that time, and then call it quits and go get myself a snack. That's usually how my day goes. And I
Take a little nappy.
Yeah. Well, then I go and do my real job, do my real work. And so I have the my trading setup still running in the background. So every now and then, like, I'll look over at the chat room or look at a chart just if, like, I'm bored or
For
distracted.
Maybe if
Yeah.
an afternoon mover happens.
Or like, yeah, so I'll look around, but like usually I'm not actively like searching the market, and so that's just usually like an hour. I mean, sometimes it's 11 if stuff's moving, but sometimes it's 9:45 if like I've made money. Like today, it was like 9:50, and I was like getting like super conservative because I was up 350. And in my life, like if I can make like $200, like I'll get super conservative because like. For me, it's beer money. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but it's like all my life is based off like my full-time job, so trading is just like kind of secondary fun for me. I just kind of like to do it. But so it's fun. But to answer Ray's question in the chat room about like percentage of my account per trade, that I don't know the answer to that, and that's not how I trade. Like, what I do is, and it's different for every single trade, given that like I start out with 500 share lots. So if it's a $30 stock, that's going to be a lot less percent of the account than a $90 stock. But I just go in with 500 share lots at the beginning, and based on the trade plan, go around that. Sometimes I'm willing to build. Sometimes it's an RVR trade, but I just start with 500 share lots.
Yeah, and you kind of stole my thunder because I found it interesting because I picked him up from the airport at 11 and then we were up to like 1 in the morning just talking about trade and stuff, and then I saw it in action this morning where he got up and then he was explaining when I'm up this amount pretty much the further he gets up then the further his risk drops in terms of what he's willing to risk. So he gets a lot more picky. Not that his original entry points are bad by any means, but now his entry points are almost crazy in the sense, but who cares if he doesn't get filled because he's already up at, in our example this morning, he was up $300 already. So $300 on a Friday in 20 minutes, I'm just going to throw out insane entry orders, and if I can get filled, great. If not, who cares? So I found that and it makes sense, but the correlation between how much money he's made and how much risk he's willing to take from, his kind of pickiness radar. But going back to streak, and I want definitely Chezz to weigh in on this too, but and good for you for not focused on it. But if you are focusing on streaks, whether it's a winning streak or a losing streak, that's a really bad psychological thing to have and to do. And I have a blog article, actually I have several videos, but I have a blog article for my own personal trading. And this was from, we've been here a while, a couple years ago.
But you don't have to plug the blog article because all these people have already seen it since they're part of your site.
Yeah, but this is going to go live to other people.
Okay. So for all you other people.
All right, Chezz, it's just going to be me and you. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to plug it because it proves a big point about streaks.
Yeah, the best
I know when you hear streaks, you think about taking your clothes off and running around, but we're talking about different streaks.
Through the quad to the gymnasium. That's the kind of streak I want to talk about.
In the chat box, we'll play the movie game. What was that quote from? Let's check people's movie knowledge.
The other streak you're allowed to use is how many bottles of baby oil can you use
after you work out?
In consecutive days.
After you work out, ready?
And if that's not 1 bottle per day, you're doing it wrong. Okay?
Okay.
So since I've gotten here, how many bottles have you rubbed on me? Be honest. 1 a day.
And Chezz is getting pretty jealous about it. Anyways, back to the streak thing. I had a great month going, and then I started to focus.
He uses lotion.
I do.
Coconut, right?
Can I finish my statement?
Okay, sorry.
Oh, thank you. So I had a streak going. I started to focus on the streak, and I'm like, wow, I'm about to break my streak. And then right when I was getting near breaking it, I got fancy, and I lost like $4,000 on a single trade. And I still came out okay in regards to the month, but it like totally took a huge swash out of my month because I all of a sudden was thinking about the streak. So whether it's a losing streak or a winning streak, don't even look at streaks. Just take it one day at a time. And how do you do that? Or do you have any mental mind tricks you play on yourself to not focus on streaks? Especially for somebody like you that can go weeks and weeks without a red day. Or how do you block that out? Or, any tips you can share?
Yeah, I guess, so the good and bad about my mentality is like every day's a zero. So I come in because my trading software opens up and it says, P&L for the day is 0. So like I don't like look at the money that's in my account or anything that would like let me know I'm on a streak or that the money has gone up. I just look at it as 0. Oh, take your shirt off right now. Like for that. Like so I guess it's just every day's a new day. That's how I approach the trading. Is every day is a new day. So I'm not on a streak because right now I haven't made any money or I haven't lost any money.
I need to weigh in here though, because I
please.
think while you make it sound super simple to do, most people have a very hard time, including myself, of not being like, oh, it's Wednesday, I haven't lost any money yet, or oh, I made it to Thursday, I haven't lost any money yet. It's like this little thing in your head because no one obviously wants to lose any money. I think you make it sound a lot easier than it is, but you totally nailed it in the sense of when you open your platform in the morning, because you go home, you don't carry any positions overnight. Every day you start at 0, so your goal is to just make green. So I think you make it sound a lot easier than it is, but that's truly how people should be approaching it. Is that don't worry about those streaks. I have no doubt in my mind that if you went an entire month of green, you weren't like chalking, making little scratches on your desk of every day you've had a green day. It doesn't mean that much to you. You just want to do well. So yeah, it's definitely harder than it sounds though.
Yeah,
that's for
and
sure.
to go alongside that, a question provided for asked, which is really, do red days really affect you? Which is a great question. So if you have a red day, does it affect you at all? If it doesn't, how do you get over it? Or talk about when you do have those red days.
Does it affect me? I would say it doesn't, like a day doesn't affect me more than, like I still struggle with like during that day. Like, so if I still will force trades. Like, if my first trade is red, for instance. Like, let's say I get online and like my first trade's red, or even if my first trade's green and then my second trade takes me into the red, so I have a losing day. Like, I found myself like forcing trades and then getting like, like I think I was telling you an example the other day. It was like one day I started the day up $150, and then I ended up taking a loss by like what I would call as like I did an RVR trade where like I got in and then it stopped me out, but then I watched it make the move that I thought it was going to do. It just kind of...
So you got cheap shotted.
Well, yeah, I got cheap shotted, and so it stopped me out, so I took a loss. But then total revenge trade style, I then was like, oh, now it's doing, so then I got in, and then like that was a bad entry, and then it totally like stopped me out again. So I'm doing it with risk, but I just was kept getting myself chopped apart. And by the time I closed that day, like I was red. Like, and so I went from being up $150 to down, $150 or whatever, or $200 or whatever it was, which is like almost like a $500 swing. And it was all because I was revenge trading because that one trade, like, I got stopped out even though it went my direction. But like, again, so like if that happens to me, like I will literally get up from the computer, walk to like a coworker's office and sit down and talk to him. I think part of the thing that's different about me than other people is that like I do have that full-time job that like is essentially my crutch. Like this is all just fun. So like other people may like be more willing, like whereas like right now I'm taking zeros on that stock trading account, but like I really don't care.
You made me $350.
Yeah, I mean I really don't care. I don't look at it like, oh my God, I'm not making money, because it's just like it'll be there when I get back on Monday. That's not how I live my life. Like it would be different, and there would be a whole different set of emotions if it was like this was my full-time job was based on only the money that was coming out of that account. Like I'd be stressed like right now being like, oh my God, I got a zero today. Like that's...
Well, I want to jump in here too, because I think that's like an extremely important thing. I think almost the fact that, we always advocate that nobody quit their job and go full-time trading out of the blue, without like practice and proving to yourself. But at the same time, it's not that you don't care, it's that you're not worried about it. This money is your trading capital. It's not your livelihood. You can't take your wife out for dinner or take Clay out for dinner, whoever you're leaning more towards these days.
Yeah, or
but,
buy a bulk shipment of baby oil.
People, when, we always talk about this too, when people are like, oh, I need to pay this cell phone bill, or, oh, I have to pay this credit card bill. That money means so much more to them now. So they're looking for such a bigger return, and they're willing to take a bigger loss because they have to make it. That's why you shouldn't have to put your eggs all in one basket. You should never be pushed to the wall and have to say, I'm going all in. So, yeah, I actually think that really benefits you a lot because you don't have that pressure. You have a losing day, you close your platform, you come back. It's, you didn't blow your account up because you know how to, manage your risk.
Yeah.
And Sean, who we just had on a couple of weeks ago, she, same thing, but she has just a part-time job. So while he's doing full-time, but it's all a mental game. And it all circles back to what Nate's getting at. It's not that he's like, well, I just don't care. Well, he doesn't care, but he doesn't care because he's got other in-stream, money flowing in. So that's why, I mean, you would never look down at somebody that would say, hey, Nate, I deliver pizzas at night because I'm trying to make it as a trader.
No.
You would respect that, right?
Yeah, no. I think, I'm a firm believer in hard work and like, you put in the work. I don't care if you're, working at McDonald's flipping burgers on the side and then delivering pizzas. I mean, it's all money coming in, and that's the big thing. Like I would find that like if somebody asked me for advice, if they were like coming down the line, they were like, hey, what would you say is the best thing to do if I want to start trading stocks? And I'd be like, well, one, get educated first. Don't just like open an account and start throwing money around when you have no idea what you're doing. And two, like make sure you have the money to do it, and it's like you're setting yourself up, because the emotions are like the biggest part of the game. That's like the hardest part. And so anything you do to add pressure to that is going to just make it harder on you. Like, and it's not going to be about like just letting the trades come to you. And even like you and I kind of wrestle with that. Like even when we pick entries, like we were talking about today, and it was like stocks were hovering like just below grandma. And it's like so tempting to just be like, I'm just going to get in now and then, just ride it down. But like I kept mine like entry where it was going to be, which was like anticipating the break of grandma,
The fake break.
and it was like one of those things where it was like that's the better entry. Whereas if I had gotten in where I wanted to get in, I would immediately be in a losing trade. And so it's just one of those things where you just have to, like I still have to fight those emotions to not get in. So it's not like I'm like totally emotionless and not like going through these things. It's just one of those things about like you just have to be smart about it. You can't let it get the better of you.
Yeah.
And like I do think being able to walk away and not being a slave to staring at charts like the whole time the market is open is helpful. And the other thing that's helpful is I trade a short time frame. So my trades are all based off the 2 and 5 minute. I'm in and out. And I'm not really sitting in there getting into a trade that I need to unfold all day. So like you people who are trading options or even like Hooch, you know, where he's like getting into these trades and then like doing them all throughout the day in CEO mode. That's great for him. I just like I don't have the time to do that. I need to go do my other work. And so therefore like that's why it's like I can easily walk away because I'm not sitting there waiting for a trade plan to unfold.
Yeah, and I to circle back, it is a great point that, and it's always neat to be next to somebody, and while they're either if you're a trainer or they're
It's
trading,
always
like,
neat to be next to
it
me.
is, that's true.
I mean,
that's,
the ladies feel the same way.
yeah, that just goes without saying. So I mean, anyways,
You lofted that one right across the plate.
that was just there you go. But so
Unlike you, that was kind of like what his volleyball looked like. You see that online?
you saw my
his volleyball game
that
is.
form.
If you think his trading game is good, then like his volleyball game
is
is
even better.
Oh my god! And by better, he means worse.
I make people cry when I play volleyball, okay? But back to the point, it is fascinating because he's absolutely right. Even in situations where you have that money coming in, you're still going to struggle with, and he was talking about, oh man, I'd really like to get in right now. And I'd be like, yeah, I can relate. I'm looking at that and saying, yeah, why not get in? So, you know, the human mind, all emotions, people have them. And it was interesting to see how our emotions would line up. And we were both feeling the temptation to get in. You know, let's just get in right now. And he, like I said, he doesn't need the money from this stuff. So he doesn't even need to get in that trade. But even with that, so the point here being, can you imagine how much harder that emotion is? It's ramped up even more if you actually need the money. I mean, that's why you got to have, and we've talked about this many times before, but you got to have a safety net of funds. You have to have a slush fund of funds where if you don't make money, let's say you don't make money for a month, then that doesn't mean you have to sell the house and go live under a bridge somewhere. So that's the biggest thing we always advocate here is if you want to try full time, you better have at least 6 months worth of expenses. And if you don't know what your monthly expenses are, that tells me you don't have a budget. If you don't have a budget, that tells me you're not managing your personal finances.
Oh, here
if
comes
you
the
don't
plug.
manage
Here
your
comes the plug.
No, if you don't manage your personal finances, then how are you going to run a business? Because that's what trading is. If you can't manage your personal finances, then don't even try trading because it's a business. Am I right, Chezz?
Well, I mean, you nailed it. It's the
P.S.
difference
I'm
between
coming out
treating it
with a
like a
personal
business
finance
or,
course.
you know,
Hey,
you're
treating it
plugging
like
it for me.
gambling.
That's inside information, man.
Okay.
I'm going to have to sue you to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Anyways, Chezz was trying to make a point.
Let's not talk about inside anything.
Just, Chezz. Chezz, just cut this guy off, man.
Well, you're next to him, so you could throw him through the
That's
window
true,
behind you.
that's
But
true.
Not throw. Yeah. Right.
Let him make
could,
his point.
He could attempt. Those little toothpick arms he has.
Oh my goodness, here we go.
Look at those things. Everybody, give me a one on.
I
there.
saw him at his wedding.
Give me-
He was ready to rock and roll at his wedding.
Give me a one on the chat in the lounge if you think Clay has toothpick arms.
So here we go.
Chad, I want to hear from you. Hide behind that pole. Get out from that light pole. You know, I'm happy Chad showed up. I haven't seen him in years on the chat room. Finally came out behind that pole in Pittsburgh.
Is he still here? I wonder.
I don't think so. He probably went back behind the light pole.
all right, there was a good question in the chat room though. I want to
touch on it,
I want
definitely,
you to answer
Chaz.
this. What
One
do
and
you
a half. Oh, they're starting.
Hey,
Provided
let him
for
answer
asked,
this question.
he asked, what was a defining moment for your trading success? Was there like a moment when you turned the corner and went from losing or break even, or were you always
asked
doing
that?
well
That's a
off the
good
bat?
question.
Or yeah, provided for asked
Okay,
that. And
nice.
What? I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
Was there a defining moment in your trading where you kind of turned successful? Did you go from like being a losing trader to break even to doing well? Did you always do well? You know, where was the point where you turned the corner and like you're stringing together green months like back to
Okay.
back to back?
Yeah, so I guess, like, one, I would be careful with the word successful because I guess everybody would define that differently. Like, I wouldn't really say I was that successful, so to speak. But I guess I see what you're saying in that. When was the turning point when I became like able to consistently have green days versus like, because like, so I opened up a light speed account, and that's when I really started day trading. And so that was probably like November of, not this past November, but the November before that. And I would say for definitely 4 months, maybe even a little bit more, my results were inconsistent. So like maybe one day I would make $500, but one day I would lose 500, or one day I would make 100, and one day I would lose 300. I was just all over the board. And one thing I did to change that is I changed how I was going about trading, and that's when I started off with 300 share lots. Like before I was doing, I don't even know what. Like I think even sometimes I was doing 1,000. Yeah, like I really just had no concept of like what trading 1,000 shares meant. Like I just
From a risk perspective, you mean?
yeah, just from a trading perspective, like how like it was gonna unfold. Like I think I just was you can watch the educational videos or like what your training courses, but it just doesn't prepare you for like the real experience of being in a trade and watching your what $1,000 means to like your P&L and how fast it either goes your direction or away from it. Like, so it just was a bad way to start. Like in the sense of like
You had too much risk on it.
too much risk. I just wasn't comfortable with it. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't feel like I had enough experience to be there. So I think that played into my inconsistency. And so I would say the defining moment for me was when I switched and went to 300 share lots, and then really focused on not how much money I was making, but like focused on actually managing the trade the way it was supposed to go. So I would get in with 300 shares, I would mitigate some risk, and then CEO mode it. And I did that for a long time. I mean, maybe all of that first year. It wasn't really until like a long time after that, many months, that I finally bumped it up to 500 shares for my initial entry. So I would say my defining moment where I became able to start gaining consistency and success was I lowered the amount of shares I was trading to a spot where I was comfortable and able to manage the trades the way I had learned them. So, and then now I work my way back, now you work your way back up. So maybe someday I'll work my way up to where I'm comfortable with going in with 1,000 shares right off the bat, but I would say right now I'm not even there. I'm happy with staying at 500 and trading the way I'm trading.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're okay with when you're in 500 shares and you see some red flash up on the screen, that red number you see doesn't freak you out.
No.
I mean, of course you don't like to lose money.
Yeah.
But if you see, $50 in the red,
yeah,
the thought of a loss of $50 does not freak you out.
No, and so like today was a good example. Let's talk about today. So I got into, it was Foot Locker.
Yeah.
So I got into Foot Locker. My initial entry was like I don't know what the stock's trading at, but let's just say it was 50.35.
No, I think it was 74.35.
74.35. That's probably fair. So I got in at 74.35, and like it didn't go my direction right away. Like it actually went up, and I think it got all the way as high as 74.95.
Was it not?
It was into the 90s. It didn't quite break 75, and my trade plan in my head I was willing to build up a little bit more shares, but I wasn't willing to build unless it had broken 75. And I already had my order out there. Remember, you were like, "Whoa, that's aggressive." I mean, you were armchair quarterbacking me,
yeah,
but you were like, "Whoa, that's aggressive if it's going to break 75." But I was willing to say that like my initial entry, I didn't feel that it was as bad as it was looking if you had looked at my P&L, because at that point, I was down like $300.
Right.
But I wasn't looking at it going, "Oh my God, I'm getting ready to lose $300. I left my order out there and I let it come to me, and that's when, as it started coming back to me, armchair quarterback over here was like, "Just get out now." No, I put my order here and get out, and I was like, "Just relax." And then it came back, and I got out according to my plan.
No, and it worked for you. And
yeah.
But that's, to go back to the beginning of the interview, that's it's fascinating because at that point with the way it had traded, all right, first entry wasn't so good. So in my strategy, I'm probably looking to take a small win, if not a loss. And we should know it went against him, but with the way we trade, there was no need to panic. We were like joking the whole time. But point being, I would have taken a loss. I said, yeah, and I promised, look, I'm not going to armchair quarterback, and I totally did. But he didn't listen. He did his thing, and he still made money on it. Whereas for my strategy, so we trade similar. Similar is not the exact same. And this was one of those instances where it really showed, a difference. So he still turned it into. I really wish it would have broken through 75 because you could have gotten some more shares.
Yeah, I could have made more money.
Oh
yeah.
Well. Yeah, it made me more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would have Venmo'd me the rest of it.
You're not getting anything.
It's like, in all honesty, like while he was out, what were you? I don't know what you were doing. Maybe taking a shower, and I went onto your account and like got myself a house in Playa del Carmen off Airbnb with his account. So.
Can I be your real estate agent to get that commission on that?
No, I didn't buy one. I just rented it for a week. So I'm gonna be going to Playa del Carmen for a week on his account.
That's fine.
All I
know is that, and I pulled this out when we were, it was a mic drop.
He doesn't know how to pull out. His wife's pregnant again. That's gonna be.
We're cutting that out. We are cutting that out. Anyways, Nate, can we cut that part out?
No. For the reality, we know that he's not quite good at that, just for the record. So go ahead, say what you're going to say.
I don't even remember. That one caught me off guard. This is not church league volleyball that we agreed to, but I
didn't say any
cuss
cuss
words. I know what
there
I
was no cuss words.
All I know is that you paid out of your pocket for a plane ticket to fly here to make me $350. That's all I know is you paid to come here to make me more money. And how does that make you feel?
How does it make you feel like the student has become the master? So the student went from learning from you. I took everything you taught me, and I just took it to a whole new level.
We already addressed this.
And
and then I made more money than you. You suck.
Yeah.
We already addressed this, so I already know where you're going. See how I was proactive? That's just another mic drop right there. Chezz, it's game over, right? Anyway, let's get back to some questions here. So. This live thing's pretty fun. I don't know if people are enjoying it, but if not, I am.
People are asking if you ever paper traded, Nate.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Chezz. See, Chezz does a good job of holding.
I want a raise.
Yeah. I'll get you the mind shares in the mail.
No, I didn't paper trade, which was...
Why not? Yeah. I don't know if we ever talked about that.
Yeah. I just didn't. I guess I probably should have, I guess. But
Do you think you should have?
I don't know.
Well,
not now.
Did you ever take any massive losses when you first got started because you didn't paper trade? Or were you always pretty?
Yeah. I mean, I took some losses.
But nothing obviously wiped you out.
Yeah, it didn't wipe me out. I mean, but I took some losses that I probably wouldn't have. I feel like paper trading is probably a good idea because, like, if I paper traded, maybe I would have learned that 1,000 shares wasn't a good place to start before I actually went in with that. And I definitely lost money during that time, but I don't know how much. Like, again, I was still making some money in there, so I was never like all of a sudden like, oh my God, my account's down 10 grand from where I started.
Right.
Like, this is a disaster. So it was never that bad, and I guess maybe I quickly realized like, oh, let's like rein this in to 300. So I would say my paper trading was trading with 300 real shares.
But I feel like you're kind of a cheapskate in real life.
Yeah.
And I say that as a compliment because most cheapskates, they have an inherent aversion to risk. So you were probably pretty aware. You don't have necessarily a gambler's mentality.
No,
right?
I did. Yeah, I wasn't gambling.
So I mean, and this is I think a good question to ask yourself. If you're thinking about getting into trading, or maybe why am I struggling with trading, and be honest, right? Because that's the only way you're gonna get better is, do I enjoy gambling? And if you think hitting up casinos is a great time, if you think that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying to try to gauge kind of your mental framework. If you just love to gamble, if that's your idea of fun is going to a casino, again, no judgments on our part, but I could very easily see that trickling into your trading where if you're kind of like, not gambling, whatever, I'd rather go just watch some football or something, you're going to be a little bit more aware. Now, none of this is, where we're saying you never have to paper trade, but you got to just be aware of where you stand in terms of kind of how do you view money. Are you a little bit more tight with it? If you are, then you're probably going to be a much more aware of risk at the get-go than somebody that just enjoys going to the casino. Chezz, are we making sense? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah. Yeah, I do, but I do think that it cuts both ways because even those people who are super risk adverse, it's totally a good trait to have versus somebody who, is willing to like let it all ride on red or black. Somebody who's super risk adverse, and Alex giving you a shout out here, isn't willing to take enough risk to ever kind of, Alex would lose like $3 or $4 at a time here, and
Good point.
we've
Yeah,
all
fair.
passed
Good
judgment in the
point.
sense of Alex, your stop is too tight. We love that you want to keep the risk small, but you're not giving the trades enough room to kind of work. So it definitely cuts both ways. I think there's two kind of sides of the spectrum, and just like you said, you got to be honest with yourself because in the end, you're the only one responsible for your account balance. So if you know that you have you like gambling and things like that, write something down, put a sticky on your monitor that like the market is not a casino, or just something to remind yourself, because you gotta stay in that middle ground. You can't be on either side, really.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and yeah, that's well done. Yeah, I can't offer that. Definitely cuts both ways. Kevin asks, do any people that you work with trade? Do they even know you trade at work?
Yeah, no, they know I trade. Given that like my trading setup is like a multi-monitor, like whole full size.
You do have a unique situation at work. You
Yeah,
have
but
a
like
pretty
so,
cool boss.
my boss is really cool.
Why don't you
yeah.
tell people what you do for a living if you're willing to? Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
disclose
so
that.
we call ourselves investment bankers, but we specialize in the sports industry. So we our big ticket items are acting as financial advisors
I always say you're like a real estate agent for people that want it, but you're instead of going and helping people buy a house, you're
Yeah.
going and helping people buy a sports franchise,
yeah,
literally.
or sell it.
Or
I mean,
sell
we'll
us.
do. Yeah, so essentially, like if you're in the finance world, it's called M&A. We do M&A transactions,
Mergers
mergers
and
and
ac-
acquisitions for professional sports teams, whether they're minor league or professional or one of the big four, MLB, NFL, NBA. So and my boss, it's a small group. There's 4 of us that work there. It's like totally relaxed environment. Like we're all really close, and so yeah, my boss knows exactly what I do. He'll there's no hiding it from him. He walks into my office as I'm trading, and he knows everything about it because he bought me the trading computer. To be honest, I bought it. I purchased it, but I expensed it to him. So they all know what I do in there. One of the other guys I work with, he actually does. He does not trade, but he quote unquote invests, and he actually does investing from like what we would describe as from a fundamental standpoint. And that's actually how I got started. If you go listen to my podcast, you can find out that he's the one who actually got me interested in the stock market and interested in investing overall by investing in companies based on like their fundamentals. And it wasn't until 10 years later that I decided to try to learn like the technical analysis part of it. So yeah, they know what I do in there, but they do not trade.
Are you ready for a life lesson here?
Yeah.
Okay, so life lesson, and I'm going to compliment our guest here, but yeah, he's got a cool boss, and I realize it's a unique situation, but that's why just be a good employee. When you're a good employee, you can get a little wiggle room. And I think if you were a scumbag, well, you'd have been fired. But even if
Yeah,
you're just
that's
at
true.
Mart, like, all right, Nate, well, he's kind of, I don't think your boss would have been that cool, right? Would you agree with that? I mean, the point
No,
being is
yeah.
he knows you're going to get your work done.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're a dependable employee.
Right,
So
yeah. And
whether
it's-
you're flipping burgers or whatever you're doing, just do the best you can do because that's just a good habit to get in. Because when
Yeah.
you can build trust with other people, yeah, maybe you can get a little more wiggle room. Obviously, you're never going to do that at flipping burgers, but when you progress through life, just a good work ethic, being dependable, can open up some things. Would you
Yeah,
agree
because
with
I
that?
agree. Because it wasn't like I went in there from day one and was like, "Oh, I'm going to
Yeah.
trade on the side." Like
Yeah.
I had been at that company for a long time before I ever started doing this on the side, and I guarantee you, if like my work started to suffer because of this,
Yes,
like if
yeah.
he came in and was like, "Hey, where's that report you're supposed to be done?" and if it wasn't done like on time, then he'd be like, "Will you put that crap away? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing all day?" But I don't let that happen because, that's called being responsible. I just don't let it happen.
It touches back to being a good employee. Yeah,
Yeah.
dependable. If it got in the way of your work, you would recognize it before your boss would ever have to say anything to
And
you.
it's also
Like, you
about
would shut
having
it
your
down.
priorities straight, and that's just part of like, it's almost, personal finance or budgeting or anything. It's like you got to have your priorities in line just to live life like in that sense. And my priority number one is the job, not trading stocks.
Right. Exactly.
And that's because, but if you went full time, then trading stocks should be your priority because that's your job. That's going to be your livelihood. So it can move up, the ladder in terms of priorities as it becomes. But for me right now, it's pretty low on the priority.
And it's just
ladder.
one step at a time.
Yeah.
But you're not always in a good place. Can we talk about the Michael Jordan story? It's one of my favorites. Or is that classified? When he called you a moron?
I don't even know.
When you gave him the presentation, Michael Jordan, about the Bobcats.
Yeah, but what did he call it? I forget.
Remember? He didn't really call you stupid, but that's like my version. That makes it. Yeah. But walk us through the Michael Jordan story.
No.
So when you gave him the presentation.
Yeah. So I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what part you're going
He basically said, "What does this have to do with anything?" Never mind.
Oh, well.
Just walk through the Michael Jordan story, and then I'll embellish on it. But it gives people a good idea of kind of what your job actually is.
Okay. So I'm not sure what part of the story you want.
Just walk us through the Michael Jordan story, and I'll swipe in when needed.
Okay. There's many of them, but so
he was thinking about buying the Bobcats.
Okay.
And you were giving a presentation.
No, so Michael Jordan. So let's set the background.
Yeah, there we go.
This is somewhat confidential, so
we don't have to
tiptoe about the details.
All right,
but
be careful.
Michael Jordan, he was a minority shareholder in the Bobcats. He hired us to act as his advisor when purchasing the shares from Bob Johnson to take over control of the team. So I feel like so then usually what we do is we come in and we do what we call due diligence. We go through financials. We go through everything that has to do with the team. And then what we'll do is we'll put together kind of a presentation and tell our client everything they need to know about going forward with the investment or the transaction. So I'm not sure the exact specific of the story, but regardless, we did that work and we set up we did the presentation. I think if I'm getting it right, what you're
asked you a question.
Referring to is there was a slide in there where I had where I had taken the current roster and the player expenses and had mapped out exactly what they were. And then I think what we went through is a financial projection. If you changed the composition of the roster, we were saying, got rid of a certain people and then added draft picks, and it was kind of saying, well, if you decreased expenses on the player level, this is how much better this investment would be for you once you took it over, just kind of trying to show him that there would be upside for him. But and then you could come from his perspective, it's okay, and then he was well, what do you know?
That's the story.
And then he didn't say it in those words. He said it in a nice way, and he was
pretty much well, why would I want to do that? Because Michael Jordan wants to win, right?
Yeah.
So why would I decrease expenses?
So anyway, what I was trying to tell him was if you lowered expenses to so you had the least amount of player expenses possible, this is how much money you could make. And he essentially was saying why would I?
What are you, stupid?
Yeah. Why would I ever want to do that? I want to I don't care about making money on the team. I just want to win. And so it was well.
That's good. But I just take that story and I just summarize it. This guy's been, called an idiot by Michael Jordan, even though that's not really true. But that's my summary.
And
of the story.
That's an honor in itself.
Yeah. And my response to him was, that's a fair point. I'm just showing you a what if scenario. If you wanted to, you could do this, but it's your choice.
And then he dunked on you, right?
And then he was okay, fair enough. And we moved on. And I was glad because I literally
Were you sweating?
I was sweating almost as bad as you're sweating right now. Maybe.
I'm not even sweating.
Oh yeah, put your arms in the air. Go like this.
All right, Chezz has a question.
For the record.
So long story short is that essentially Nate gets berated by former sports stars all day for investment banking. So that's what he really does.
Yeah, just let it roll with it.
Yeah. Okay. There's
just
rarely
roll
any
with it.
sports
You're just
stars.
gonna take it. So Ray had a good question. You can let me know if you don't want to disclose it, but he's wondering, percent-wise, how much is your account up? And I know, trust me, by no means do we focus on. Okay, so you don't actually know.
No. Because I will also say, I'll just say, to be honest, I transfer money out of that account, I did like I'll.
Well, we call it your fun money. That was the name of your podcast.
Yeah,
first time was like 'cause
like
it's literally like you said bear money,
It's
but we
supplemental
just call it,
income. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it is.
I mean,
Exactly.
so like for instance, like I have a Jeep. I have a 1983 CJ7 that I restored, and like literally, I just took $1,000 out of that account so I could buy a brand new soft top for it. I mean, I'll just take stuff out, so I have no idea because I don't even keep track of it.
Right.
I mean, I know there's enough money in there for me to day trade, so over 25,000, and I have cushion. So
And I think that's probably another way that you probably get around even the streak is like because you don't even know where you stand. You just literally every day.
Yeah.
I have no idea if I'm up 10%, if I'm up 20%, if
No.
I'm down 7%.
Like I said,
every
it's a
new
zero.
day is just a new day. Yeah. Question from Devo Bevo. Are you using what kind of scanners do you like to use? Do you trade off alerts in the chat rooms?
yeah, I do. I trade off the alerts in the chat rooms. I mean, I definitely watch the chat room, and when it dings, like I'll go look, and then like I'll pull up the chart usually. But then the scanner I use is the high-low scanner on Lightspeed. That's it. I watch, and like usually I watch the tickers, and if I see a bunch of the same ticker come up in a row, it doesn't have to be Christmas tree style, but even if it's like a bunch just in a row, even if it's only a grouping, I just go check it out and see what's going on the chart. And that's pretty much that little high-low scanner on Lightspeed and the chat room are the only two things I use.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Yeah. So I think you told this before, but you started off in penny stocks.
Well, no. I mean, I started off investing in the fundamental.
Yeah.
of
So
those
just walk us
companies.
through the penny stocks. For the people that were in the meetup in Chicago, we were in Dunkin' Donuts and we were all sitting around and Nate, told the story and it's pretty. I find it pretty funny, but.
Yeah, so like I said, the background is like I invested in real companies like based on fundamentals, like using some of that finance expertise that I learned and like my coworker, and we bounce ideas off each other, and we'd be like, okay, PEG ratios, blah blah blah, that kind of crap. And so we invest in companies and hold them like a long-term swing trade, for lack of a better word. Well, then I don't even remember when that was. But I watched Wolf of Wall Street. That was the movie. So I watched Wolf of Wall Street, and that was like pretty much the first time I had ever even heard of a penny stock. So I watched that movie. They kind of like, I don't know how much they dramatize it, but they show that kind of world, and I was like, oh, penny stocks. But right around that same time, we were starting like all the ballots for the marijuana stocks were coming out. So I went and actually just ran a Google search and just typed in marijuana public companies or whatever. And that took me to penny stocks. Because there were no legitimate like companies that had any exposure to marijuana. And so that's where I then started with a straight, more fundamental analysis like thesis. I then was like, well, I'm going to invest in some marijuana stocks because if this gets passed at whatever the November election, then these companies are going to make more money than they're making now, so therefore the stock price is going to go up. So that's why I started quote unquote investing in those penny stocks. And so then like through the process of that, then
your job really helps you out here in the story.
Yeah, so then like through the process of that, like I started, and that was right around the same time, like I had just gotten on Twitter, but I was using it like for work, like a lot of like the sports business people were on Twitter or pumping it on like their website, so like I started getting on there to be up to date with like the sports news, and like then like I started doing the like $ stock ticker, and that just took me down this like crazy rabbit hole of like weirdness that
it's
like
going to the moon.
Yeah, like I didn't
Here's
even,
some section something press release.
Yeah, so I didn't even know what it was, but like I totally like got suckered in. Like, and I had no idea what was going on, but like they were like, boom, news is out. Like all that like stuff we joke around, like I was totally sucked into that. And that's how I found Clay, was like he then would start doing those
Well, I wasn't the one that was shouting, boom, news is out.
No, you would then do the charts after like the market closed. So then I would watch those, like, and I would be like, oh, whatever. But so anyway, so whatever these people would yell, news is out, whatever, 13K or 10Q or whatever the annual filing was for these OTCB whatever penny stocks. Like I would like the stock would start running. I would go like pull up the financials and like start reading through like the income statements and the balance sheets and be like, oh my God, like these companies are terrible. Like they're not.
You actually know what you're looking at. Whereas a lot of people, like myself, when I got started, I was a penny stock investor. As a true investor, you should like honestly know how to read a 10K or 8K or whatever. But you literally knew, so not to cut you off, but you were just horrified.
Yeah, oh yeah, because like you could look at the income statement and just see that their expenses like were clearly far and above their revenues, so therefore like they were losing money hand over fist, and there was like no
cash
chance.
On hand, $135.
Yeah, and and then you go over the
flags.
Yeah, you go over to the balance sheet, and there's like no way for them to pay for these losses, and so like the way they were paying for it was obviously they were just selling shares to then fund the losses that they were having. But like again, but I made money in that thing. I didn't make as much money as I could because like I let it go up and then it started coming back down before I got out. Yep. But I mean, it was one of those things where it was like if you just got in at the right time, and I got lucky. But that also, we were talking about it, like that caused me to miss the one that like just like wasn't there like or is there another marijuana boom going on like currently or was for the last election? But like I refused to
on a much smaller extent.
But I refused to participate because I was like, no way. I've been down that road. Like it's all a matter of like getting caught with your pants down at that point. Like it's like who's gonna get caught?
Yeah, it's Clay always puts it best when he says it's a game of musical chairs, and you don't want to be the guy stuck at the end, and it's like the music is stopped, the dancing is over, and your money is gone. But got another good question from the chat room.
This one comes from Germany.
So this one comes from Germany. He says, are there areas where you think you have to improve your trading, and are there things you still struggle with today?
Don't just stick to
wiener
the just stick to no wiener
schnitzel.
No, just stick to the
Okay. Sorry. I was too busy thinking about wiener schnitzels. What was the question again?
All right.
What do you need to improve on?
What do I need to improve on?
I'm not going to go down the route.
Yeah. I think
Go ahead.
I think I always constantly want to improve on making sure I like tell myself to pick a quality entry and not force a trade, like not forcing an entry.
Yep.
Like that is a constant battle, and it's on a daily basis that I still even struggle with that, where it's like let it come to you. Like map out the trade plan in your head and stick to the trade plan. Don't like if I think my entry should be whatever 50.99 and don't all of a sudden change it and get in at 50.75 because like the stock looks like it's gonna hover there and then go the direction I want it to go. So like stick to the entry that you think is the best trade plan. Don't force a trade just to get into a trade.
That's good. Yeah. Look, it's starting to thunderstorm again here in Michigan.
Yeah, I can't.
Hooch, hey, Hoochie's got a question for you. What is your favorite entry? Because I mean, like, what would be your ideal entry that you're gonna take every time?
Okay, so I've got right now I have three ideal entries.
Okay.
That I look for and will play very consistently. If it's a overextension in the bull direction, so it's like so I'm gonna be looking to short, and I'll look to short on round number breaks. So I put my entries at like, let's just go use $50 as one. If the stock is overextended, so it's got to be, that's the first stipulation, it has to be overextended.
Yep.
Based on the 2-minute or 5-minute chart. It has to be overextended, and then if it's getting close to a round number, I'll put my order at 50.35, hope it breaks the round number of 50, it fills me at 35, and then it wants to go back and retest 50, at which point I get out for whatever, and it depends on how I feel about the trade, how overextended it is, but sometimes I'll do 300 share lots to mitigate some risk and take 200 shares and CEO those, or sometimes I just do like the Clay Trader live trade video style where it's like I get in with 500, I put like either 50, 75 or $100 and I get right back out, and then I'm willing to do it again. So I like that. So entries of round number breaks at the 35 level, and then I like the 85 level. So like if it goes up and breaks like 50 and then goes and tests 85 and comes back and retests either 75 or 50, I like those.
Yep.
And then I'll do the same thing in a bearish direction. I'll do a round number break, but I'll play it from the other way. So like in that case, I'm getting in at 49.75 and getting out like at 49.90 when it like breaks through the round number and then goes back and retests it. And then based on how overextended it is, sometimes I'll do the CEO shares but I'm going against the trend most of the time.
I was gonna say, but as a disclosure, I mean, you can write down what he's saying, but please just don't go and do that. There's lots of other stuff that he's leaving out. There's other things he's looking at. There's characteristics of how it trades and how it trades. Well, you're gonna like this for a plug.
Yeah.
If you want to know how it trades, I've interviewed Nate in our live webinars that are part of Clay Trader University. So if you want to hear all the nitty-gritty details, then all you got to do is sign up. How is that for a plug? Was that pretty good? Was that pretty good?
So, yeah. And, like, and now I've gone, like, even I'll get long in the middle of, like, deep pullbacks.
Yeah. So yeah. All right.
We get all kinds of long stuff going over here.
Yeah, there's...
And deep pullbacks.
Let's
Deep.
see. There is a good question. Oh,
Real deep.
do you have any sort of...
We're all deep into this.
Yeah, we got it. Do you have any do you have any...
Balls deep up in this.
You're going to have to definitely cut this stuff out. We just...
What?
Are there any
Volleyball.
restrictions on your trading since you
Yeah.
work with financials?
No. What do you mean? I don't know. I don't pay enough attention.
So
I don't know.
So the SEC could see this and you could be going to jail after this.
Fine. Yeah, good. Good luck.
Okay. All right. I would love to see the SEC bust in here right now, tackle you to the ground.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Because, like, they all have more important people to deal with, like, than me and my... Like, order of magnitude, like, nobody on this stock... Like, yeah, no. Order of magnitude,
All right,
they've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, I would agree.
Hedge funds out there, like, you know, getting illegal information and, like, making $100 million in 5 seconds, and they're going to worry about me making $200.
That's true. I would agree with that. There's bigger fish to fry. But what about your future? Do you have any plans to ever go full time, or what do you foresee for the future?
Future, yeah. Future's a funny thing. I don't predict the future, so like you know, I'm a big believer in like every day's a new day, one day at a time. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen at my real job, so I can't tell you. I mean, you know, I will say that like I like the fact that the stock trading thing. I would like to gain more experience, but again, like if someday like my full-time job stops for whatever reason, like the company goes out of business, maybe, you know, whatever happens, I decide that, you know, I don't like something that goes there. I think this is a quality backup plan to have as a part of my, you know, life tool belt or whatever, that if I ever wanted the choice of being able to stay at home and trade stocks full time, then as long as I continue to progress, then maybe that could be a life choice. But I don't know. I can't tell you I wouldn't go get another job somewhere else.
So you kind of took my question there. I wanted to ask do you have any aspirations do you have like a target, like in 5 years, I do want to only work from home, or are you just totally content with your job and just taking it day by day, that if like something were to happen, you'd consider trading full time, but otherwise that was never kind of your goal when you got into this, was it?
So just order of magnitude, I've been at my job for 11 years. Like it's actually been over 11 years. And I would always tell everybody that like I never thought it would last this long. Like I started there as an intern for 3 months, and I did an internship there, and then they offered me a full-time position when that internship was up. So then for me, it's like every year I just kind of take it as it comes, and I'm grateful for the opportunity and I love it there. So like I would never leave out of my own choice. Like I'm not ever going to be one of those, because I love it there. I have tons of stuff, you know, that makes my life a happy place, and so I just don't see a scenario of me leaving there. But if something was to happen that was out of my control and that was to stop, then I would consider, if I felt comfortable in my trading, I would consider, you know, going to full time. But so that can let everybody know. But like the way I trade now, and like my, you know, like the way I trade, the amount of money I make on a daily basis, like I'll tell you flat out, like I wouldn't be able to live my current life on that trading income. Like the reason it works for me is because it's like my fun money. It's the reason I can come buy a plane ticket to come up here and hang out for a weekend because I make that extra money. But like it wouldn't pay my bills.
Right.
And so I would have to make life changes if I wanted it, or my trading would have to get significantly better, or
Yeah.
so there would have to be changes that went along with any kind of full-time.
Yeah, and that brings up a point, because we had this yesterday, and I guess it was kind of a deep conversation, but give the viewers your thoughts on money. Like, is the money like the be all end all? Like, how do you view money? Because it's kind of a newer revelation in your life. Right?
Yeah, I would say because like just like any like as I get older in life, I think I'm not that abnormal to be a 20-something, person that's like has a good job and just thinking like, wow, like, the more money I make, the better off I'm gonna be, and like I want to get, I want a fancy car and I want a big house and I want all this stuff because like that's like the society that we live in. That's like you get caught up in like that is gonna be, that's the way to go. That's what you should be doing, and you're not.
The pursuit of stuff.
Yeah, you're not doing things right unless that's what you're going for. And I'm not saying everybody feels that way. I'm just saying I know I got sicked into that like while I was going through my 20s, and it really like as I get older, that stuff becomes a lot less important to me, and like the happiness like about life. And so like that's why like now I view like the non-monetary benefits of my job as being much more important to me than like the actual what is my salary. Like that is not as important to me, like
or how much am I making in my trade?
Yeah,
right?
or so like someone could come up and offer me double my, I don't know what the number is, but more money. But like if I start weighing, it's like, well, I have complete flexibility here. Like if I want to take off tomorrow, I can. I mean, there's non-monetary stuff, and like now I'm not like buying the best car I can get, but I still do stuff that like I get it that money allows you to do things that make you happy. Like I get to come, do a trip, or I get to go on vacation, or
right.
Like I like cars, so like that Jeep, like I got to have a toy and put it together because I have money. But at the same time, like the root of my happiness isn't based on that money that I'm making. Like the root of my happiness is like coming from other places, and I think that's most important. That like literally you can find happiness without money as long as you have that's other stuff.
And I think to summarize, you don't do trading because you need the money, or you think like I want money. You do trading because you like the challenge of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, like this is gonna sound bad, but like it's like in some ways it's like playing an adult version of a video game.
That's exactly what it is.
You like so like you grew up playing Madden or whatever, and now it's like I'm playing a game, but like there's a real life benefit to playing it.
And there can be a real life benefit where it destroys you too. If
so
do
that's what I'm
like,
saying.
There's no reset button.
You can't like take it lightly by any means, but at the same time, to me, I would say that's some of the appeal. Is there's like a little bit of that, like it feels like I'm playing a game, but so that's kind of what attracted me to it.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I'm not seeing any other questions. No, I'm not going to ask that one. People are asking about
what.
No, just stuff. It'll make us sound like meatheads. We're not going to go down that path.
Yeah,
no,
let's go.
Do you want to sound like a meathead?
Yeah,
fine.
Let's sound like
they want to know who benches more.
Oh,
but I have a rebuttal. So
okay.
I'll,
we don't know. We haven't done like I would say.
Well, you bench more based off of what we did yesterday.
Well, we didn't do a 1-rep max, so we don't know. But you want to?
Fine.
Should we take our shirts off? Should we take our shirts off? Give us
no.
If you want to see us take our shirts off, and then you guys can rate us.
No, there's gonna be negative
Let's
numbers.
Isn't that like
report this live stream, everyone? Report it, please, in advance.
What was that?
Chezz already has his shirt off. The viewers just can't see him.
What was that website?
Right now.
What was that website where it was like you rated him hot or not?
Wow, DT is.
Look, DT wants to see us.
He's a dirty old man. Look, DT's a dirty old man.
We won't.
But no, while we were getting things set up before the train wreck happened.
DT, you need to change your name to add an F on the end of there.
Just
DTF. Your Majesty, it should be he's DTF.
It's amazing you let this man interact with your children, Clay.
Yeah,
You're a saint.
He's actually super good with. As hard as it's to believe, he's super good with kids, and he's not.
That's because I'm their real dad.
I was wondering if we could make it through without any wife jokes like that, but.
It's like not the last time.
But
I gave him one. He's got to have one.
Yeah.
He's gonna wonder why that kid looks totally different.
yeah. Anyways, but all right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. So, for the chat room members, if you found this like entertaining, if you found it helpful, so because we want things to be both, but
I don't know which arm. Which arm? Oh, this one. Yeah.
you just do that one. Don't they? All right. So for you listeners out there, get off of me. All right.
Come on, get the baby oil in here.
All right. I gotta wrap this up. Then we
For all
can-
you people who didn't want to be guests in the past,
Yeah.
Clay is now flying you to his house
Yeah,
in Michigan to
yeah.
conduct the interviews. So pack your bags and come on down to Clay's Fortress.
All right, so for you listeners out there, before we wrap up, if you enjoyed this, click the like button. If you're, well, hopefully everybody's watching this. Usually I just say if you're listening on YouTube or, the iTunes or something like that. But, just click the like button. You know what to do. We got to end this. So, hey, thanks for watching. Hopefully everybody had a good time with it. And we will see you back for the next episode. And who knows, maybe we can do some more of these in the future. But thanks as
Naked.
always for
We're gonna
watching.
do it naked.
And hey, thanks.